Okay, good afternoon. My name is Nellie Burke. I'm about to do a persuasive speech on why children should go to private schools other than public schools. This is just an introduction, making sure that I have enough people in my audience. Moving on. Okay, I want to show here, we have to have a visual aid. So I used for my visual aid my 2009 yearbook. Me, right here. So you see that I went to private school my whole life from 1997, graduated in 2010. I think public school is the best. Every child wants, well actually more or less, every parent wants their child to have the best education, right?
Yes.
If you guys have kids, you want your kids to have the best education.
Yes.
The best thing about a private school is you have the one-on-one. You have the one-on-one contact all the time. Yeah, it can get irritating, but to say at a private school or more or less a public school, there's bigger classes, more or less people. I really don't know. I only went to college, and I could say that's public school, right? Right? No?
Yeah.
Which a lot of people, but we don't have that same one-on-one contact that I would in a private school. If I have any questions, any little bit of tutoring that I need, I can get it right away at a private school. Okay, so a couple statistics I want to share with you guys today. According to the National Center for Education, the advantages of private schools, there's less bureaucracy, as in meaning the public schools, they have more paperwork, more things they have to deal with in the state. Private schools, they're private. It's from the state. I went to a Christian private school, so we had church services. We had, different little activities that you wouldn't always have in a public school. We got to see more of the environment. We got to have more one contact with just different types of people that we wouldn't have in a public school. So that's just all I wanted to share with you guys today. And I like private school, and that's it.
Well, I have to say public school would probably be better.
Why?
Only because you get to experience a lot more different things. You get the diverse of people and stuff like that.
Okay.
Also, if you're involved in sports or anything like that, also things that most private schools don't offer that public schools do. Mm-hmm. So I feel like, people who have ADHD and stuff like that, I feel like public schools are more equipped to handle those types of people than
well, then in that aspect, when they go into health reasons, I grew up with a nerve disease. And I was out of school all the time. And with the private school, they were more interactive to have my schoolwork always ready for me. Anytime my mom would want to show up to that, I always have my classwork ready every day. Even though I was never in the school, I was in the hospital, I still got to feel like I was at school.
Right.
Regardless of the fact that I wasn't there. Towards being in a public school, you wouldn't get that same, you're not in the classroom.
Well, you would have your homework when you were out of school. Mm-hmm. You would have to go and pick it up to have it done, because else you would also be losing credit for that class or whatever it is.
I've heard from other public schools and from other kids who had different public schools didn't work with them as much as would the private school worked with me.
Right. But
no, I do see your point with that. But at the same time, it's kind of what she said. Your parents would come pick up your work and then you do it and turn it in if you were sick and whatnot. But like I said, it's still the diversity to go with it, as well. That's why public school is the way to go.
Is it 4 minutes?
Well, adding on to that, I also went to a public school and semi-charter school. And in public school, the teachers don't pay that much attention to you as an individual as much as they do in a smaller private charter school. So I do agree on that with you, that you do get that.
Go ahead, Brian.
And what I'll just say about the reason why, since I have been in both environments, the reason why I just like public school more, I think it's more where you get to decide based upon like who you are and who you want to be for yourself. Because in private school, everybody does the same thing. Everybody's the same way. Like, I went to a Christian private school when I was younger, and everybody was forced to think necessarily the same way. And at more of a public school, it gives you a chance to go ahead and feel free to go ahead and express yourself more often. You can wear what clothes you want instead of being in a uniform. It allows you to go ahead and express yourself and build friends that can be lifelong friends as well.
You're right. There's a lot of pros and cons to both of them, but as far as education-wise, I feel private schools are better. Yeah, you do get more of a diversity in public schools and more of an openness and whatever, but as far as education and wanting to have that goal of degrees and everything like that, I feel like I can get that more aspect in a private school.
But whether it's public or private, yes, I think y'all are looking at the public school. You could go into sports and the diversity of wearing clothes, but being from the old school, a uniform school is always better. There's no peer pressure. It's not that you could do what you want to do. Uniform is always better to be in a classroom, in any school environment, not wearing your own clothes. Because here, oh, what do you have on today? And you try to compete with each other wearing your own clothes, you get yourself in trouble. I traveled the bus when I didn't have a car because my car was down. And when I was traveling the bus, I was applauded to see how some school children get off the bus. I mean to say, a parent allowing their children to leave home in that manner? No. I don't call that going to school. I call that going to a party. That's just me. And I do not agree the way how public schools have kids come to school. They should have a uniform. I prefer in the uniform.
Yeah, you're
going
supposed to go to school for education, not to meet
see
friends
how.
and to.
Yes, you will socialize at the right time. So socializing comes at the right time. But the concept is going into school, whether it's public or private, is to get an education and do what is right. That's my concept.
That's true, but I mean, okay, as far as doing what's right, I feel like at a public school, you know, you get that chance to, you know, make that decision compared to at a private school where they make that decision for you.
Well, I would say not all private school does, because you have a lot of private schools here don't make decisions for you. This here is the rule of the private school, and you follow that rule. You go by that guidance.
Right.
Some private school, they set on that law and they want you to go by it. And they expect, if you want to be in that private school, they expect you to follow the rules and regulation of that entity.
Right, exactly. That's why I kind of say, you know, not really they think for you, but, you know, they kind of show you what you have to do, and if you don't do it, then there's
Consequences.
Yeah.
And it's a way of showing you, because as we come up in this world, consequences are there when you don't follow guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have to go through that consequence when guidance, you're not taking what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. But like,
Excuse me 1 second. Hello?